Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
I use Shipt same-day delivery to stay connected with my sister during the holidays. She lives across the country. Shipt has tons of stores to order from. Groceries from Albertsons, crafts from Michael's, even pet supplies from PetSmart. The list goes on. So when we have long-distance movie nights, I turn to Shipt to get face masks, snacks, and everything else we need delivered to her and to me same day. Download the app or visit Shipt.com. That's SHIPT.com.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel saying, I'm not going to be pushed around by some New York City mayor. No. I am definitely coming to New York. And that was the clear and obvious message that was coming through from the prime minister. He said, I don't care if Zoran Mandani says he doesn't want to bring me here. He doesn't want me to visit, that he's going to arrest me. Are you kidding me? I'm the prime minister of Israel. And he said it loud and clear today when he did an interview with the New York Times. Listen to this exchange. Netanyahu remotely saying, I'm coming to the Big Apple.
The International Criminal Court has an arrest warrant out for you, which of course alleges that you conducted war crimes. In New York City, right here where I am, the mayor-elect, Zoran Mandani, says that he would comply with the ICC and he would arrest you. We've long wanted to do one of these interviews in person right here in New York.
By the way, I didn't answer your question, Andrew. I'll come to New York. Okay?
And that was my question. Would you come to New York, given what the mayor has said about arresting you?
Yes, of course I will.
And you will test that? I mean, what is the thought about how that would work?
Well, why don't you wait and see? Yes, I'll come to New York. Okay.
Would you want to talk to him, by the way?
Well, if he changes his mind and says that we have the right to exist, that'll be a good opening for a conversation.
Great line by Netanyahu. If he wants to acknowledge that Israel even has a right to exist, because so far that seems to be a trick question for Zoran Mandani. Remember, every time he keeps getting asked about it, he's saying, no, well, for religious reasons, I don't necessarily think there should be a Jewish state. So bravo to Netanyahu. I hope he comes during the inauguration. Wouldn't that be great? Sitting there in the front row, waving to Mandani when he puts his hand on the Quran, maybe. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And, of course, this comes as the Holocaust survivor is speaking out. And he is, of course, the great Sammy Stegman. I know Sammy. And he is very upset that this New York City principal has denied his request to speak at a school, saying she doesn't agree with him. Can you imagine a Brooklyn principal saying, I'm not going to have this guy come to my school, a Holocaust survivor? What have we come to? This is New York City. This is America. This is 2025. And you're not going to have a Holocaust survivor who could really be educating these people and young people, especially, to hear his message? That is a disgrace. And bravo to Netanyahu, and bravo also to Sammy Stegman, who has been speaking out about this left and right. Meantime, Mandani holding fast about his views of NYPD and ICE. He did an interview and he said there is no uncertain terms that I can see the NYPD cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He is saying he's going to tell them to stand down. Take a listen.
I think we're going to make it very clear that the NYPD is not assisting ICE in their actions. And I've said, even directly to the president, frankly, that these raids are cruel and inhumane, and they do nothing to actually serve the interests of public safety.
And he also said that these raids do not assist in any way, that they're cruel and inhumane, as you heard him say. And he's stressing that this is not going to be a good thing for New York City. He said that during the interview, and here's what he said when he was on the street talking to reporters, a very similar message.
When I met with the president, I made very clear that these kinds of raids are cruel and inhumane, that they are raids that do nothing to serve the interests of public safety, and that my responsibility is to be the mayor to each and every person that calls this city their home. And that includes millions of immigrants, of which I am one.
What does that mean? That what, immigrants want illegals, especially criminals that have committed serious crimes out on the streets? That seems to be what he's saying. And earlier today, we talked with Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. This is what she had to say about Mayor Mandani and his view of public safety and a lot of these soft-on-crime judges, soft-on-crime DAs, what may be ahead for New York City.
I think a lot of New Yorkers want to have compassion for people who have been here for decades. They have had children here who are American citizens. They've worked hard. They've even paid taxes, and they've never committed a crime. But to hear that our mayor and the current government that is in there is not cooperating to deport people who are violent offenders, or any criminal for that matter, you know, it is truly outrageous. And I don't understand why they just can't make that distinction. And so I feel strongly, particularly after we saw these two National Guardsmen shot, one unfortunately killed by somebody who was in this country illegally. You know, those Afghans who came over, there were about over 50 of them that turned out to be on FBI terror watch lists. And what about the millions of gotaways that are in our country right now that had no interaction with our government at all? They snuck over the border. And we know that there were 5,000 individuals who were jailed, ISIS-K fighters, Al-Qaeda fighters, that were jailed in Bagram Air Base. During that botched withdrawal, they were released. And where are they now? Are they among the millions of gotaways that have entered into our country? And then we have a mayor like this who doesn't want to cooperate, an attorney general whose job is to put public safety, make that paramount, is refusing to cooperate. I mean, it is just ludicrous. So Kathy Hochul, Tish James, Mandani, and all the others, I mean, they're going out of their way to protect people who are committing crimes or are a real threat to terrorism.
That is a stunning statement. But if you look at it, the fact that these sanctuary city policies are re-releasing people over and over and over again, and some pretty dangerous folks. And if you look at the policies of a number of these individuals, some of the people, she was saying that there have been 7,000 people let out, and they include 29 of them that are tied to murders. Why would you ever let those people out? Let them out on the streets because what, you have sympathy for them, but you don't have sympathy for the citizens? That to me is really, really shocking. What are we in store for? 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Al in Yonkers, line 4. Go ahead, Al. Your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, hi, Rita. Thanks for taking my call. You know, I just wanted to say if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York City, which I believe he will. I mean, he's the longest-serving prime minister in Israel. Coming to New York City is, you have so many Jewish institutions. Of course, you have the UN. And, I'm sure that, the mayor-elect, if this comes to a head, will try to make some noise, but it would be too much of an international crisis because you have Netanyahu's security, Secret Service. It would be a real nightmare between the countries. So I don't think at the end, that the mayor-elect would try to do anything.
Yeah, you know what? I think he's going to be in a bit of a kerfuffle because just like you said, if he comes for the UN,
yes.
And then he might also come for other things, too. He has other meetings often where he's coming. If I were him, I'd come almost soon after he gets inaugurated. I'd come on Inauguration Day. I loved, who is it, Ina Vernikov. remember, who is the councilwoman, and she has said that she would love to invite him. I think it'd be great if she could invite him, and he sits there and watches him. I would love to see him there because, listen, he's a world leader. That would be an incredible moment. So would you wait till the UN or would you come sooner, Al, if you were Netanyahu?
I'm sure Netanyahu will probably just, wait a little while just to see what, transpires. I don't think he's going to rush anything to, test a potential problem. I think he'll give it a little time. But, it's inconceivable to think that either in the role of prime minister or former prime minister that he at some point will be coming to New York City.
Yeah, 100%. It's inconceivable. He shouldn't have to change his schedule because you've got, the mayor of New York who thinks, the former rapper.
A young guy,
Right.
He's so young. I don't even think he probably drives a car. He's 34. It's amazing that he's that the citizens of that the city residents actually elected this guy.
It is. It's still stunning. And what's amazing is he hasn't even gotten in yet. And he keeps saying, here's what I told Trump. And I would love to. I wish there was a video camera of watching Trump's face. Don't you think, Al, on the other side going, this guy thinks this? This guy,
Definitely.
It's like, what are you kidding me? Al, thank you very much. It's always great to hear from you. Thank you very much. Let's go to Sandra in New Jersey. Line 3, Sandra, your thoughts.
Well, first I understood that Donald Trump wrote a beautiful letter to the president to pardon him, and then we learned that he needed to express to himself, Netanyahu, which he did. So I hope that he will be pardoned no matter what happens. But even if he doesn't get pardoned, of course he should come here and not be intimidated by our mayor-elect character. And also regarding that special man today who didn't get to go to that one school, he said it ended up being for the best because it called attention to that school, and now all the other schools will welcome him with open arms to speak about what he went through in the Holocaust. So I heard him this morning. He's delightful. He's wonderful.
Sammy is the best. I love Sammy.
Yeah.
He's and what a sharp as a tack. And I like the fact, like what you just said, that now it's woken up all these other schools. They're going to invite him, and the other ones that don't, they know that they're going to get the spotlight on them, right? They're not going to want that one.
That's correct. And, I wanted to tell you something. When Michael's parents, his father was in the concentration camp, and so was his grandfather. And his grandfather was one of the people who made the shoes, the boots for the men. And he used to stitch them so they would fall apart. Isn't that kind of funny?
That is. Sandra, thank you very much. You're terrific. You are always terrific. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much. Let's go to Carlo in Cape May, New Jersey, line 1. Thank you, Carlo.
Rita, it's always, each and every time, a pleasure to deal with you, to hear you, the Bella Polaka Princesa, the beautiful Polish princess. Now, I want to say a couple of quick things. I'm going to end on a positive note. One, I believe that Mandani is a plant, and I'm not an extremist. I'm a moderate. I think that he is part of preparing for another 9/11. And I want to say something positive.
Wait, no, why do you think that? Hang on one second, because that's a pretty inflammatory comment. Why do you think that, Carla? Why do you think he's a plant? And by the way, he is going to be mayor on the 25th anniversary, which is an incredible thing.
Okay, I'm going to answer that, and then I'm going to end on something positive that involves you, that you can continue to help my brother and sister American veterans. I'm going to answer your question and then end on positive. Because, Rita, my love, he's anti-Catholicist, anti-Christian, anti-Semitic. He hates Jews. He hates Catholics. He has no right to say that Christopher Columbus was not a slaver. He wasn't a slaver. He wants the statue taken down. The man he's in denial of the Holocaust. And the bottom line is, the fact that he didn't even show up, Rita, at the 24th anniversary. Rudy Giuliani, 86, was there in a wheelchair. He is yet to denounce that animal who shot and killed one of my brother American military in D.C. last week. And the bottom line is, he has all these.
By the way, that's an interesting point, Carlo. You are absolutely correct. That's an interesting point, because he did say that he called President Trump about the National Guard's troops. But you're right. I'm looking for the statement. That's an interesting point. Where is the statement? And I haven't seen it if it's out there, about condemning the Afghan national. That's a great, very, very perceptive point. Everybody, we're going to continue your calls after the breaks. 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now, is right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, bravo to New York City Mayor Eric Adams. He announced an executive order today, which is barring New York City from making business or pension investment decisions that discriminate against Israel. Bravo to him. He's trying to make New York City Mandani proof. And it's obviously a veiled swipe to the policies, the anti-BDS, or I should say the BDS policies of Mandani, which are the boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. And that's also part of everything tied to the Democratic Socialists of America. But you can see Eric Adams on the way out. This is, of course, it's less than a month, trying to do what he can to make New York City much more fair to Jewish citizens. Also, this is fascinating. New York City lawmakers also want to ban protests within 25 feet of houses of worship. Bravo to this group, too, as well. This is, of course, in the aftermath of those horrible protests, that one that took place outside the Manhattan synagogue just recently, where they were chanting death to the IDF and blocking the door. And so they're saying there should at least be 25 feet from protests to the front door. They were blocking the door so they couldn't even get in. So this is a good thing all the way around. But it looks like New York City is bracing for who's coming in on January 1st. Let's go to Joaquin in Pennsylvania, line 4. Go ahead, Joaquin. Your thoughts tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Rita. Actually, this first look, I got to give my buddy Leon credit for it. Anyway, it's funny that the same young women that voted for Mandani are the same ones who support Mangione, and that's an interesting statement that my friend made. Now, I have to say,
by the way, why do you think that is, Joaquin? And listen, we're going to go to a quick break now. I want you to think about, why do you think it is? Do you think it's some of the same group that just sees a nice smile and a nice head of hair, and they think, wow, that's a handsome, nice guy. Oh, oops. Oh, he did something terrible. And I'm referring, of course, to Mangione and certainly a lot of the statements by Mandani.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
so sick. Another laugh?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana. At IKEA, your dreams can come true. Well, maybe not the ones where you're being chased by a monster. We're talking about kitchen dreams. And there are IKEA products and solutions for all of them. Whether it's a whole new kitchen, a statement glassware set, or just new cutlery. If you got big dreams or small dreams and any size of budget, IKEA can help you bring them to life. Visit IKEA.us/dreamkitchen to learn more. Dream the possibilities.
This is a real good story about Bronx and his dad, Ryan. Real United Airlines customers.
We were returning home, and one of the flight attendants asked Bronx if he wanted to see the flight deck and meet Captain Andrew.
I got to sit in the driver's seat.
I grew up in an aviation family, and seeing Bronx kind of reminded me of myself when I was that age.
That's Andrew, a real United pilot.
These small interactions can shape a kid's future.
It felt like I was the captain.
Allowing my son to see the flight deck will stick with us forever.
That's how good leads the way.
Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Phoenix, Arizona, where a woman who was trapped inside a burning car on an interstate in West Phoenix was pulled to safety by an officer who happened to be driving by and busted through the glass on her driver's side window to rescue her. The incident happened in an early Saturday morning as Officer Dakota Berry was returning to his duties in nearby Goodyear, Arizona, after booking a suspect at the county jail. He was driving down the interstate. He came across a two-vehicle crash, and when he pulled over, he got out of his vehicle to assess the situation, and he noticed at the crash that there was another one on the other side of the interstate, whereupon he could hear honking from that car that was in flames. And he realized that somebody was trapped inside. He rushed back into his patrol SUV to get a glass-breaking tool. He ran across the interstate to the woman's car, and he used the tool to knock several holes into the driver's side window. Her feet then popped out, and he was able to grab her legs and successfully pull her through the window. She was able to be pulled out. She was in critical condition and taken to a burn center, but thankfully was alive due to the officer's fast actions and happened to be at the right place at the right time, literally saving her life. The car then quickly became engulfed in flames almost immediately after he pulled her out. Wow, wow, wow. We are talking about Zoran Mandani, and also now Netanyahu saying today he is coming to New York. He's not going to care who is the mayor, and he doesn't care what Zoran Mandani says. Let's remind everybody a little bit of what Zoran Mandani said about Netanyahu not that long ago.
And Mayor Mandani, would you welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu to New York City for whatever he comes for, given the U.S. is not a signatory to the ICC, so he can travel to the U.S., unlike a lot of other countries. Would a Mayor Mandani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No. As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
Even though the U.S. is not a signatory to the ICC?
No, it's time that we actually step up and make clear what we are willing to do to showcase the leadership that is sorely missing in the federal administration.
He is not budging one bit. That's an incredible statement. And now Netanyahu saying, too bad, I'm coming. I don't care. Good for Netanyahu. This comes also as the Democrat Socialists of America, of which Zoran Mandani is a group of, they're pushing for their members in a magazine that sort of is the Bible, if you will, of the Democratic Socialists of America, saying that they want to see a takeover of low-level government entities to supercharge their far-left policies in the face of their movement, and especially with the big win of Mayor-elect Zoran Mandani. And they believe that they'd like to see people in city institutions en masse, and that they say, listen, there are so many smaller governmental positions that are below the mayor that, you know, whether it's community boards even, NGOs, progressive forces, parent-teacher associations, community education councils, let's take them all over. And one of the leaders of the Democratic Socialists of America in New York saying that, urging the 12,000 members of this group, as well as other Mandani supporters, to take advantage of volunteer spots at different positions if they can't nab a city seat. So do all you can, just get your foot in the door, and that's all we need. That's a pretty bold statement. Meantime, listen to these comments. This is troubling, because there was just recently a New York City Department of Investigation found that the NYPD overall is complying with sanctuary city laws, but saying that there have been instances where the NYPD has not done that. So they're saying they would like to see stricter practices on immigration enforcement, that looking into this, they have seen some infractions, and that is a troubling case, including a singular incident, they say, where an NYPD officer violated local law by assisting federal authorities in enforcing civil immigration law. So they're saying that the NYPD, because the city law, they say, is sanctuary city, even though a lot of people will contest that, and that there were complaints made against an NYPD officer for essentially cooperating with ICE. And this is what, to me, is really troubling, because we may see a lot more of this under Zoran Mandani, who's going to say, I am making it clear I do not want to see any NYPD cooperation with ICE in any shape or form. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Thomas in New Jersey on line 3. But first, let's go back to Joaquin, and then we'll go to Thomas. Joaquin, thank you very much. Okay. Joaquin, go ahead.
Okay, Rita, first of all, before I get to the young ladies, I smell a showdown coming. The dynamic duo, President Donald J. Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, against the villainous Mandani and his crew. But, you know, we were talking about the young ladies who, for some reason, keep falling for, like, you know, these Manjonis and even for Mandani, you know. And it's a combination of things, I think. And I think the first thing, of course, is that perhaps maybe there's some issues with parenting, father issues with some of them, you know. And then, of course, the whole educational system has been co-opted, which really needs to be taken back. But then I've heard, you know, from somebody else who does another show that talks about this a lot, and he knows a lot of people that, you know, they good families out, you know, in the heartland of the USA, and their daughters, they're upstanding young ladies, and then they get sent off to the big city, to the college and the university, and then they get indoctrinated there. And unfortunately, I guess in some ways it's perhaps part of the female makeup, you know, but
let me ask you, but Joaquin, we're not all that wacky. I mean, some women are wacky, but my question, I guess, is also that, to go to the point, and let's just talk about, obviously, like Mangione. I mean, different cases, obviously, but let's go to the Mangione case, because what he did was obviously absolutely horrible. He's accused of opening fire, and it's on tape. You see it. And everybody knows his story. That's how he gained notoriety. And yet, like you just said, these women are showing up in court. He's got another court hearing tomorrow. I mean, what is it that what they think that going after the, you know, insurance companies, that's appropriate? I mean, you know, you can not be happy with the insurance companies, but to take it out on anybody in a violent form is horrible.
It is, but you see, that's what's wound up happening in our society now, because the left has been able to turn these guys like him into a Robin Hood. you know. And to somebody who maybe, you know, there's a lot of people that have mental issues also, you know, because let's face it, even Charles Manson, I believe he got married in prison and had a child or something like that, you know. And there's certain types of young women that for some reason get drawn to these guys.
Yeah, no, that's true. By the way, Joaquin, years ago I did a story about women who sort of fall for these people in prison. And some of them were definitely, definitely you could tell they were a little kooky. And then there were others that were sort of successful. And you're thinking, what are you doing? But you're right. There's some sort of clearly a psychoanalysis. Maybe they feel like, he's behind bars. I can change him. But guess what? I don't think you want it. There's a lot of other nice people out there. You don't need to settle for somebody with this crazy allegations and charges that are against him. Now let's deal with Mandani. So where do you think things are going to go with Mandani and Trump, Joaquin? And especially now vis-a-vis, I think it's interesting to see some of these moves by Eric Adams. He goes to Israel. He is now also passing this information and saying that he wants to essentially block anybody who is pushing this BDS, the boycott, divest, and sanction Israel. And what it's doing is it's going to force Mandani to either support it or rescind the order. And that will also start, a lot of questions and a lot of issues. So it's an interesting, I give him credit for trying to, Mandani-proof New York before he comes in.
Yes. When it comes down to Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, I think that they realize that they have to go in there and actually make a real statement, because who is this Mandani guy to sit there and say that, that we follow the international law versus the law of the United States, that the United States has nothing to do with it. And as a matter of fact, unfortunately, as to what, Carla was saying, Mandani, he's a plant, but to Islamicize America, and so I think that Trump and Bibi Netanyahu, they're taking the bull by the horns here, because Bibi says, Mandani says he's going to arrest Netanyahu. Well, he has no authority to do that, and that's going to really push an issue, and it's going to basically put some real mud on his face when that happens, when they have this showdown.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that whole international court, that's all, first of all, it's such hogwash, and, they have no jurisdiction over New York City, over America. And President Trump has already said this is ridiculous when he heard those claims. And you've probably heard Professor Dershowitz on Katz and Cosby, where he talks about sort of the history of this international criminal court, which is very, very sketchy at best. Joaquin, thank you. You're terrific. And thank you for holding. You're awesome. We always love hearing from you. Let's go now to Thomas in New Jersey on line 3. Go ahead, Thomas.
Hey, Rita, God bless you, and happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas to you and your listeners.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rita, this Mandani, let's be ready for him. When Netanyahu lands, let's have a Marine Corps detail ready to go. Let's have United States Secret Service ready to go. And I don't think – you talk about illegal orders. The Democrats like to talk about illegal orders. Show me how to fly the plane, and I'll blow the Venezuelan drug boats out of the water. I have no problem. So this would be an illegal order. If Mandani actually has the chutzpah, I'll use that word, to order his NYPD to grab Netanyahu, let's be ready for him. I would like to see that, because that would be a criminal act. He doesn't know what the Constitution is. He doesn't know really what country he's in, and he doesn't know basic law. So this would be a good way to get him out as the mayor of New York, if he actually has the audacity to try this. And quite frankly, Rita, I think the NYPD will stand down. I don't think they'll follow. He may get a handful of loons, but I think Trump's got to be ready for this. What do you think, Rita?
Well, I think there will be some sort of showdown. I agree with you. Because Mandani seems to me like a true believer. Like sometimes you hear these people, they just kind of have this bluster or whatever. With him, he seems like he is ingrained, that he firmly believes it, that he's hardcore. And he keeps saying that I told Trump that this is cruel and inhumane, these ICE raids. So what? Is he saying, I don't want to see a single ICE raid in New York City? You know Trump's going to do an ICE raid in New York City. He's been doing them, and why would you not? You go where the criminals are. And sadly, there are a lot of criminals that came to New York, and especially repeat offenders. I mean, Thomas, just look even at that list that just came out the other day from the New York Post. It's over 7,000 people that NYPD released out on the streets and didn't even notify ICE that they're in the area, which is terrible. And under Mandani, are we going to see that? And is it going to be turbocharged? And Trump is not going to put up with that. Trump is not going to allow these stories of X amount of individuals roaming the streets. You think he's going to sit back and go, oh, okay, well, Zoran Mandani doesn't want me here. I'm not going to send anybody here. He's looking at Zoran Mandani like a little bit of a gnat. He is sitting there in the Oval Office, and you could see even in the language with the two of them, even though Trump was being very cordial, clearly the other day with him. But if you really look at it, it's like, it was clear he's the president and the other guy just happened to be visiting. It was sort of like the little pupil, the little student, if you will, sort of standing next to him. So I think that's how the relationship's going to go. I think Trump is giving him a lot of rope, letting him have a little bit of, whatever he can do. He's able to play nice. But the minute he gets out of line, or the minute he feels like New York City's going to get out of line, he's going to say, I told that guy that ain't going to happen. Trump is not going to back down from not sending anybody. The question, I think, Thomas, and tell me what you think, I think the question is how long? I really do. What do you think? Because I don't think the little bromance, superficial bromance, I think it's very short-lived. What do you think? Are you counting days? You counting weeks? What do you think?
Well, I think it was a show for the cameras, Rita, really. I don't think it's in character with who Donald Trump is. These are all threats to America. These are many invasions, the drug cartels, these imposters that are Islamifying the United States of America. I think Trump has got to be ready for him. If he dares to go near Netanyahu, he's one of our greatest allies. Where does Mamdani get off? Pick Mamdani up, arrest him, Pam Bondi, and let's have a trial. And Rita, going back to the military people, anybody that thinks there's illegal orders, let's have a military trial. And you know what? You're going to be dishonorably discharged because they give no examples of illegal orders. They just speak in generalities. And if you don't want to fly the plane and blow up the Venezuelan drug boats, defy the order. We'll give you a military trial, and you'll be dishonorably discharged. You'll be doing us a favor. Get out of the military. You're seditious, and you're a bunch of treasonists.
Well, and you know what, Thomas? I'm so glad you also talked, because we're going to definitely be talking later on this hour for sure. Or actually, I should say into the next hour, we're going to be talking about this, because I could not believe today some of the language that was coming out from some of the Democrats, like making excuses for these narco terrorists. One of these Congressman Jim Hines actually said there's no such thing as a narco terrorist. There are only bad narcotic people. They're like making it sound like, Mother Teresa and Mr. Rogers were on the boat. And it comes as ABC television was reporting that the second strike happened after the two guys were getting on the boat and trying to save the cocaine. So they were attached to the boat and were trying to move the cocaine away to save the cocaine, which is the reason the strike was happening. So it even further, I think, supports that second strike. They're just trying to create something, to your point, to say, oh, look, there it is. There's some illegal action. Let's try war crimes for Trump. Okay, all these other phony stuff that we've been doing, all the charges, all the impeachment, all these other things, all these things haven't worked. So now let's try one more thing. And you're right. The fact that they're trying to, initiate any military member that does that, they are really going out on a limb. These Democrats, especially the six ones, that seditious six that actually said, stand down, we're going to stand by you. They can't stand by them. when a military member is about to be court-martialed for defying orders. You cannot defy an order from a commander-in-chief. And I think it just looks so desperate that they're actually defending narco-terrorists. And we're definitely going to get into that later on tonight because it is shocking to me. Thomas, thank you very much. You're terrific. 1-800-848-9222. And you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
It's 7v7 soccer. Smaller the pitch, faster the action. The world's elite soccer clubs compete for their share of a massive $5 million prize. Catch World Sevens on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max December 5th through the 7th.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Jay Kelly, the new film from Academy Award nominee Noah Baumbach. George Clooney stars as an actor confronting his past and present on a journey of self-discovery, alongside Adam Sandler as his devoted manager. Critics are calling it a declaration of love to the chaotic art of filmmaking, with the Wall Street Journal praising it as a transcendent comedy drama. Watch Jay Kelly December 5th, only on Netflix.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
Let's go to Larry in Brooklyn. Larry, go ahead.
Yeah, first I want to make a couple of points. What you were saying about Eric Adams with his executive order, BBS, I think that was a brilliant move. He finally made a move for the Jews. I think it was brilliant because what he's doing is he's checkmating Kathy Hochul. Because now if Mandani wants to rescind the order, she is backed up in a corner. If she doesn't say anything, then she is going to obviously show that she's anti-Israel. She has to stop him from doing it. This was a brilliant move. It's like checkmate.
Yep, great point. That's a great point, Larry.
Yeah, and if Hochul comes up anti-Semitic, then good luck to her getting elected in the next run. So that's the first point I want to make. The second point is that when you talk about this Holocaust survivor Stegman, I got a great idea. You know, if this Holocaust survivor was too much for this anti-Semitic principal Aaron Rush in Cobble Hill to deal with, how about we substitute the speaker and we bring in Joaquin from Pennsylvania to talk about how his father was killed standing up to the Nazis? Maybe that message would resonate a little bit better with her woke students and be more acceptable. What do you say to that?
Well, what I will say is Joaquin his father standing up to the Nazis, bravo, bravo, bravo. I think Joaquin and Sammy should both go and speak at that school. And I think anybody that would disgrace a Holocaust survivor is disgraceful.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here? Looking for financial insights you can trust?
How do you protect yourself as an investor? What's the strategy?
I think it's really simple. I think you just want to be diversified in your portfolio.
The Payne family brings real-world experience to every conversation.
Well, I think that's the problem right now is, right, a lot of people that are close to retirement, they're taking so much risks. And if we do get a big sell-off, it could derail their retirement.
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.